down a little bit the way you were before, so is that okay?
That's better, thank you.
So, tell me, who is Professor Shea and what was that meeting about in the Vatican?
Professor Shea was a very charming fellow who holds the chair at Padua, the same chair that I think Galileo held, and that Cardinal Poupard appointed to be the liaison with this project. And the other person we met was Father Coyne, who's a Jesuit and the leading, I think, scientist in the Vatican. And we visited him at the observatory, which is one of the great centers that the Vatican has, supported for hundreds of years, where they continue to do important work and important scientific work, and make contributions. Now, the Jesuits, of course, are their own sect within the church, and they have not always had 100% support, but they have continued to do important science, and their science is respected and published in peer-reviewed journals. So it's a serious, scientifically respected place.
Are there people that you're aware of, scientists, who can go out and draw a huge crowd somewhere?
Yes, one of them is my friend Brian Greene, who just held the World Science Festival in New York for 4 days and sold out every event, 40 events. And Brian is a very, I think, charismatic speaker. He's also hosted a television show, The Elegant Universe, which I supported based on his best-selling book. I think there are a handful of people. I think Richard Dawkins still can get a good crowd. He had a bestseller on your favorite subject, Attacking Religion. And Richard is a first-rate scientist. I mean, I think his more important contributions are books like The Selfish Gene. But there are not that many. I mean, the Carl Sagans of the world are few and far between, and we need more of them. Neil deGrasse Tyson at the Museum of Natural History, an astronomer and an African-American, also the host of Nova Science Now, is another scientist who can draw a big crowd. He's very engaging. But we need more. We need more of them.
One last thing, which, if you remember, we had received from virtually every conceivable papal entity, letters of patronage for the project. The last stop on the train was actually the what's called Propaganda Fide, also known as the Inquisition, who at the time was run by a cardinal named Ratzinger.
That's right.
Who is now the Pope?
Who's now the Pope.
Who is now the Pope. And
so you have a paper from him?
no, we.
Oh, you never got it.
He was the last stop.
The Nazi Pope. I said it. You didn't. Go ahead.
Well, we talked about our views. He's quite a splendid public relations expert at this point after the last trip here.
Well, with those
he
shoes
really
and
snowed everybody.
But the last stop on having everyone, and then Pope John Paul passed away, and things happened. But I don't know if you want to throw in the Ratzinger.
You might not want to get into that just because we don't know where.
Yeah, I don't want to date this.
No, it wasn't. There wasn't a date. No, I was just saying that was the last entity.
Did we meet? But we
maybe
didn't
you
meet
should
with
say
him.
that.
There. It was.
Yeah.
It was literally. It was the Inquisition, the office, the Congregation Index, as they refer to it.
That was his gig before this?
His gig. And that was the next stop, and then the Pope died, and then Ratzinger, literally the day before they were supposed to go talk to Ratzinger about it. So maybe too anecdotal, but
I'll let you do. I mean, I don't
Yeah, I
have
think
I
you
don't have a
should say
personal
that.
connection to that.
Yeah, I think you should say that when we do you
Okay.
again, because
Oh, that's
also I want to talk to you about his take on music, this current Pope, so we'll deal with that. I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan.
Oh,
yeah, look who played at.
Yeah,
Yankee
American
Stadium.
Idol. Hello.
No, but
Is that our best singer that we have to offer?
Which
at the
one?
moment,
Which
please?
American Idol?
Kelly Clarkson.
But it's progress.
Not really.
Well,
Not in my mind.
Not musical progress.
Mary J. Blige would have been progress. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. Anyway.
Well, we also, we have a lot of. If you remember, we were about to do two things. Just and then I think we're going to let you go because it's time. But there was really two things. We were going to do a performance at Pope John Paul's Christmas
Concert. Yeah, but then this Pope ixnayed the concerts.
Well, then the change in management as referred to.
Yeah, but do we want to say that? Want to talk
That's
about
right.
that as a
You don't
possibility?
have to.
Sure, if you want.
I just don't want to lock us in. Well, we
Yeah,
could use
just-
it or not.
Yeah,
Let's
no,
just-
it was,
Let's just talk about it generically, and then if you want to use it in something, we can, and if not,
What's
not.
the it? What?
Well, I'll ask the
Okay,
questions.
okay, you'll surprise me.
Among other things that all of us have discussed in passing as possibilities in terms of a musical, performing it at the Vatican, doing it just as a normal Broadway show, doing it online, having a contest a la American Idol, one of the things that Craig had brought up to me was doing a performance of perhaps some of the songs at the World Science Festival that I know that you are connected with, and tying it in with the science and religion sort of gestalt, the theme, and maybe talk to me a little bit about some of that,
Yeah, I mean, I think
conversations you've had.
that would be a great idea. Well, Craig and I were actually, I gave the World Science Festival first grant, and Craig was in the discussions early on, so he knew about it, and I think it would be a perfect venue for this kind of effort, because the World Science Festival is really trying to bring together the two cultures on an annual basis. And I think, for example, they had an event with Oliver Sacks this year at the Abyssinian Church where he was talking about music and the mind. And I think, it was 1,800 people, sold out, place was popping. And I think we could get a great audience, exactly the kind of people interested in both the seriousness of science and just the fun and joy of art and music and a rock musical. So I think it would be an excellent venue for this kind of project. And also because it's a work in progress, and that would be kind of exciting to watch something travel and hopefully come to Broadway the following year.
When's the next World Science Festival? Next June?
Next June. I'm going to talk to Brian. Actually,
So
I'm
we
gonna
have to start now trying to
I'm
get
gonna